like your process of like what made you enter the transfer portal and what brought you to LSU?
Yeah, for me, I was just there came a time last year where I was thinking what I wanted out of my college baseball experience, and for me, saw the SEC, I've heard about it, see the competition at play and the energy that comes with it, and that's something I really wanted to be a part of. So for me, I made the decision to come and I wanted to play in the SEC, and that was what ultimately led me to get in the transfer portal.
What makes Shea Johnson such a good recruiter?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, when I was in the transfer portal, it was just him on staff, which is pretty amazing that he was able to get everyone, and that kind of speaks to him, his amazing work ethic, and clearly you see right away his passion for winning at the highest level and developing players. So that really stood out to me, and obviously with the tradition of LSU and everything that comes along with that. So he's the best coach in the country for sure.
Did you visit anywhere else during your recruitment?
I didn't. I got pretty sick after my visit here, so maybe a sign. But no, I just visited LSU and I kind of knew right away that's where I wanted to go.
What about it clicked for you?
For me, just kind of seeing all the resources they had that could really help me, with the pitching lab, that was something that really stood out to me. Pretty analytics driven, and seeing all the objective data that can help me get to the next level of pitching. And then, the support from the community was very obvious, and pretty much there was a real cool feeling about it that stood out to me, and I knew, along with Coach Johnson, this is where I wanted to be.
It wasn't food poisoning that got you sick on the visit?
No, it was not. I actually had mono at the end of the summer, so I got it. I was gonna start throwing that week, and I got mono. So.
How long did that take? About a month to get over?
Yeah, I got over it pretty quick because I was just probably really sick for about 2 weeks, and then I was just tired, and I just kind of had to power through it. But
a little different facilities here than.
Yeah, for sure. The facilities definitely are different. The emergency center is top notch, and I was talking with Kevin Gosman when he came in, and Dakota Hudson. They were seeing Coach West, and Kevin Gosman works out here a lot, and they just say how amazing it is. It kind of blows a lot of facilities out of the water in terms of resources and everything. So I feel very fortunate to get to use them.
Is the farmers market still in right field at UCLA?
No, not that I know of.
Can you take us through what your injury was and how you're feeling now?
Yeah, so I had stress fractures, 2 in my back, and I probably had them for a while. So the injury, a lot of people are born with it, and then something could flare it up, and that's what happened last year. That made it like an acute injury that happened on one pitch, and then it took about 14 weeks of physical therapy, and it took probably 8 to 10 weeks of a throwing program, and now I'm completely healthy, and I shouldn't have to deal with it ever again, and I'm good to go.
You mentioned your interest in sort of analytics. Where does that background sort of come from for you?
For me, just kind of being a student of the game, and when I started getting into pitching, I just kind of researched it, just kind of tried to grab all the information I could on it, and that's where it really started. And for me, I really like to know the how. There's always the why, and you do something, but the how, and I think that bridges the gap with the data, and so that's really fascinating to me. And I think for me, as long as you don't overthink it, it's a huge tool, I believe.
When did you roughly start sort of getting interested in the high school, even middle school?
Yeah.
Sort of a timeline.
So I was a catcher for most of high school. I started, I would throw an inning here or there, just kind of trying to throw as hard as I could. I had a good arm, and then over the quarantine, I really started to get into pitching more, and I was getting pretty frustrated with hitting. So I was pitching. I was clicking. I'd put in a lot of work, and it would really click. And I love the one-on-one competitiveness. So my first year of fully being a pitcher was my senior year of high school.
Really?
Yeah.
How much did you grow between your catching days and your pitching days?
I think I've always been pretty tall. I've been pretty tall, but I definitely outgrew it. Yeah, I was probably 6'2", 6'3" my beginning of my junior year, and now I'm 6'4". So. No crazy growth spurt, but I've always been pretty tall.
Do you feel like that time gave you a little bit better insight as far as what they're looking for around the plate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think calling pitches, calling my own game. I got to do that in high school, which is huge. And just kind of having a feel for hitters. I thought everything they threw me was tough when I was hitting. I wasn't. But yeah, no, it definitely helps to be on both sides of the ball, and then you just know hitting's hard. You don't want to give the hitter too much credit at times because they got to hit your stuff, and I think it definitely helps play on both sides of the ball.
What do you think are like your strengths right now? What pitches are you super confident in?
I feel really confident with my fastball, breaking ball combos. I think those would be really good to me. I feel like confident I can throw them in any count, which is good. And moving the fastball around, and my changeup's taking a big step forward, and just kind of controlling the strike zone. I think I've done a pretty good job of that and making that priority. So I feel really good. I feel like I'm in the best spot I've been. So I feel great.
What is it like having guys like Kevin Gosman and former MLB players come in and be able to mentor y'all?
That's great. I mean, Kevin Gosman, he was super generous with his time. He was an amazing resource when we got to see him. I came home early over pretty much right after Christmas to come back and train here and just be around the facility and use it. And he was around a lot, and we got to talk a lot. And he loves to share his insight, and I know I was super appreciative of that. That was really cool.
So during that quarantine of that 2020 year, when you were trying to transform yourself into a pitcher, like how did you sort of work on your pitching?
Yeah.
Did you have like a mound at home, or did you have a facility you could go to? Like how did that sort of work out?
Yeah, we had a mound at home, and one of my lifelong coaches, who I used to catch bullpens for, his name's Jeff Pick. He went back when I lived in Northern California. When I was 10, I would catch bullpens for his high school team, and so I've always been around him. And then he actually would do like his pitching lessons at our house off that mound, so that was pretty cool. Just be around baseball all day, go catch pens, and then throw some bullpens, and then kind of really got more into the weight room at that time, and just kind of really fell in love with the process of pitching and getting better. It's pretty cool.
How often were you throwing during those endless weeks?
I was throwing a lot. I had no real throwing program, just because I didn't really know any better. So I was just throwing. I loved to throw, and when I felt like throwing, I would, and then if I felt like I needed a day off, I would. So it just felt like simpler times,
So with you being as detail-oriented as you are, it sounds like Wes is the perfect compliment for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. He's helped us in so many ways. Just kind of he's from where we all want to go. He's from the big leagues, and he always says greatness is boring, and that's like having that routine, that process is really helped me, and that's where I get my confidence from. So it's pretty cool. It's very cool to be around him, and I love being around Wes, and he's helped me in so many ways, and the details is very real here.
I mean, obviously he's very well versed with the TrackMan data and all that sort of stuff. How has he sort of helped you understand that stuff even further? Even though you came here with probably a higher understanding than most pitchers when they come into it.
Yeah, I think I had a pretty good understanding of what it was, but hone in on more important areas like tilt, the way the ball's coming to your hand, and you get on the Edgertronic camera, the super slow-mo camera, and you see exactly how you want the ball to come out of your hand. That's why you see in the big leagues, guys are just throwing nasty stuff because they know exactly how they want the ball to come out of their hands, and that's been huge for me as well, I believe. And just really knowing where to hold your focus and just trying to master the details.
How old are you?
I'm 20. I turned 20 in December.
Okay, so for you to already donate your NIL money, and it's just a very mature thing to do, right, from a sophomore in college. I guess just where does this come from? Have you always kind of been an old soul? Is it just are you an old soul, or are you not?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it goes back to my parents and my dad. I try to be just like my dad. I think if I could be anything like him, I'm going to be a good man. And he's always installed me too much is given, much is required. And I've kind of taken that throughout my life. And that's always something I've wanted to do is give back, especially with all the support I've gotten from LSU and the community. But that's always something my dad's has taught me. He's big on giving back as well. And so that's where I got that from. And when NIL was presented to me over the summer, I was talking with my dad about it, and we were like, "This is something I'd really like to do."
What's he do?
He works in a healthcare company.
So what led you to choose? Was it the food bank?
Yeah, for me it was the food bank because I sat down with it for a while and thought about it, and I said, yeah, I've never had to worry about where my next meal is coming from, and I just think any way I can help, you don't want anyone to go hungry, and just to help in any way I can there, that would mean a lot to me. And yesterday, when I was working at the food bank, we're filling up the boxes, and it says, family with 3 kids, and then you can feel like maybe I want to hook them up with some cookies or something, and that felt very personal to me, and so that's kind of the personal side where I want to give back to them, and I don't want them to worry about where their next meal is coming from.
You seen Coop's knuckleball?
Yeah, it's nasty. It's a real knuckleball, and that's fun on TrackMan to look at that. It never really picks it up, but yeah, I think he's like a true 8-pitch pitcher.
As a pitcher, how do you feel that? How do you mix that in without tipping it?
No, you'd have to ask Coop.
Yeah.
You don't try the knuckleball? That wasn't a COVID?
No, that never crossed my mind.
No ethos.
Yeah.
How are the bats? What are you seeing from your teammates as far as in the box?
Legit. So much depth, I think, on both sides of the ball. And obviously I spend more time with the pitchers, but, I'm watching the scrimmages every day, and, it's a loud offense. The thing I'm most impressed with, which Coach Johnson and Coach Chief, the hitting coach, are so big on, is they don't swing at balls. That's one of their philosophies, and that makes it tough on pitchers. You gotta make a competitive pitch. They're not going to get themselves out, and I think that's a sign of a really tough offense. And they stay true to their approach. So they kind of have all the traits of elite hitters, as I've seen, getting to face them. So I think it's a great experience to face them. They're just going to get me ready.
You're about to experience something that maybe, I don't know if they went to the postseason last year, but crowds are a little different here.
Yeah.
I guess just how exciting is that for you? And
It's
the
super exciting.
interest?
Yeah, super exciting. I can't wait to play for when this place is packed. It's not something I've experienced, and that's a huge reason I came here, is to play packed out stadium. Everyone cheering you on. That's so exciting. So I'm really looking forward to it.
What makes Wes so good at in terms of just sort of explaining everything and sort of doing it all in a pretty personalized manner, so it's more digestible for a particular pitcher?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so it's super individualized with every pitcher. That's at times you'll see like a cookie cutter, umbrella way to develop pitchers, but that's certainly not the case with Wes. He says he's got 21 different plans for every pitcher, and he knows your strengths. He gets to know your personality. He wants you to pitch your personality, and you're going to attack your strengths, and whatever weaknesses you have, we're going to go at that too. And so I just think, the relationship that he builds with every pitcher really helps with that.
At least for you, like, what's a sort of an example of some of that stuff you just sort of discussed?
Yeah, I think, so there's two examples. The first one would be the mental game, just really pitching to my personality, just being quick on my feet, being loose, being sharp, and just really diving into some mental game stuff has been really helpful for me. I got to think about that a lot over break, and I think it's really helped me. And then just from a pitch design standpoint, working on my slider and my fastball, I want them to come by hand. I spin all my pitches really high, and so getting the right axes on them so they can get really late life and get the shapes I want have been really helpful, especially with the Edgertronic camera and talking through it with him.
And does he like to sort of compare? You say you make a really good pitch, is like to sort of compare it to, that's something kids at my age would do, or that's something
Yeah,
second grade would do.
for sure. He's always talking about his guys. Kenta Maeda, super analytics driven, super detailed, and then a Sonny Gray's bulldog competitor, and so just kind of using the traits from, the greatest players in the game right now, and how we could learn from them. That's been super helpful.
More questions?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Thatcher.